Hi, my name is Derek Henry, and I'm a solutions consultant at BlackLine. In this quick overview, we're going to look at BlackLine from the perspective of an approver. Now, while we're talking about roles, it's important to know that BlackLine enforces segregation of duties, so you cannot review your own work. Notice we have several different roles that we can use. Now, when you first log in, you're greeted by a series of dashboards. These are tailored to your role to keep you focused on what you need to approve rather than manually searching around. Without critical information like this at your fingertips, crucial items can be missed or go past due, resulting in a longer than desired close timeline or unreliable financial statements. These dashboards can be reconfigured or they can be repivoted in ways that are meaningful to you based on your personal preference. And those can be different across your different roles. Now, you can click on any item. So if we wanted to see what is ready for us to approve, you'd look at everything that's prepared and you get a snapshot of what that is, those 9 items there. Now, if you have a lot of items, you can search through those, right? So you could say key items, or maybe it's items related to cash or reporting or something else. So whether it's through the description or whether it's through other configurable fields like the entity, type, or category, it makes it easy. It's a lot like searching for things on Google. Now, giving these extra fields over here, it's a lot like tagging items instead of where they might have to fit in a folder today. An organization is just kind of a mess. Now, aside from this, the status grid for tasks is where I found to be the most helpful. It's a lot like Excel, but you can make it your own. You can do filtering and sorting and show whatever fields you want here and save that as a view. So as an example, in this view, I've filtered everything that's prepared because that would be ready for me to review, right? Or if you wanted to look at everything that's not yet done to follow up with the team and say, hey guys, these things are past due or these are important and they have items waiting on them, then you might have a different view for items that are not yet done. Now, the analogy here is that's like having an auto filter already applied when you open up Excel every single time, right? Now, automated alerts can help you make sure you're aware of upcoming items, so you don't necessarily have to use a grid if you want. But what we found is having alerts in a workflow like this that just happens helps people become more efficient in their close and make sure things get done when they're expected. Now, month-end close is not the only category. Now, you might have that as one of your categories, right? That's what most people start with. But it's not the only one. Another one, and this is huge, having been a preparer, an approver, system admin, a lot of different things in BlackLine, and having been an auditor in my career and in managing the audits at most companies I've worked at, this is a huge use case because you can track all those requests the auditors give you. We make it very easy to just upload that list, put workflow and due dates around that. And so if you're the one responsible for making sure things get done on time, and they have to give it reviewed before the auditors look at it, this is great because you can share read-only access with the auditors. And that is so much less back and forth happening, right? They spend a lot less time too because they have everything they need. They don't have to come back and forth to you. And you're able to do the audit a little bit at a time, leveraging the work you're already doing. And I can't emphasize enough how important and helpful that is. Now, another use case of this is documenting internal controls. So whether you have an entire COSO framework built out or just a few crucial controls you want to track, this is a great way to evidence the performance of those controls, where you can easily upload reports that you reviewed, evidence that something got done, that the controls are operating effectively, and you can collaborate with comments. Now, if you're already doing this kind of stuff, let's say one of these controls is that a key journal entry got reviewed. You can link this together so that when that journal entry is done, it's prepared and certified and the approver approves it, it would automatically mark it off this list. That's a lot of time savings and gives you insights to how controls are working. Now, that is accomplished with this dependency tree. So you see all these little icons on the left here. That means there's a dependency tree and this is either a parent or a child. Now, what does that look like? Well, it looks like this. It could be really simple. And there's 2 ways that these things work. This parent here can't get done until all the children have been fully certified through all the different workflow steps, prepare, approve, whatever. Or once these 3 are done, the parent will automatically certify. That's how audit requests often work and controls, because there's nothing separate needs to be done. We just want to make sure that we're indicating they got marked off. This helps optimize the order of operations, making sure that prerequisites get completed and that rework is avoided. Now, that could be pretty simple, or like in this next example, it can be incredibly detailed and have all the items that are happening linked together, right? Just another example of how that might work. Now, from the status grid or from the dependency tree here, people often go to the workspace for tasks. Now, the very first things that people see, whether you're a preparer, an approver, or really anybody looking at this, are the purpose and the instructions. I like to call this the why on the left and the how and the what on the right. This keeps people engaged and focused, setting very clear expectations. If you were going to review something for the first time, makes it pretty easy, right? Because these instructions aren't just for preparation, that's anything. If you have new team members, you spend a lot less time having to help them understand what to do. Let them try to figure it out for themselves and answer the questions and fill in the blanks. That frees you up to develop them on things and get crucial tasks moved through the process, right? Now, the stuff that they're usually doing month in and month out is they're aggregating documentation, like you're seeing here in the form of comments and documents and hyperlinks to other systems or where they might have to go to remit something. This information is locked down. So notice, we can just view it with magnifying glass. We can't edit this. We cannot change, delete, or move anything that preparers have done, whether it's accidental or intentional. And that's a huge control. Literally, that's the thing I was looking for before I even knew what BlackLine was. We had an instance where that happened during an IPO. Can you think about a worse time for files to go missing? Because I can. They can indicate how long it took to do something. In this case, that wasn't used, but that's okay. This is optional, but if you're using this, it gives you insights to how long things are taking, workflow distribution, etc. Now, the preparer can use the attestation checklist or certification checklist to indicate what they did. What are they certifying? What are they signing off on? Now, approvers can have that as well. It could be the same type of list, could be completely different. These are optional, but what people tell us is that these are great. These let you answer questions before they were done and make it very clear to leadership, auditors, or anybody else what you're doing, what you're reviewing, what steps you're following. Now, when we move on into recs, you can track those from the dashboard, right? So you might have a different dashboard here, the rec status, or a more visual chart element. Or again, you might use the status grid. Now, some key things about how recs work in BlackLine. That balance for every single account that you're going to reconcile in BlackLine is going to be automatically fed in from your GL. Now, we're agnostic, so that could be any ERP system you're using. That one thing alone drives a lot of automation. Think about how many hours you've spent tying out balances to your Excel files because there's a lot going on. Last minute changes. Did we update every rec? I know in my past that didn't always happen. So this gives you peace of mind. Now, it also drives other automation like our auto certification rules. Was there no change since last month? Is it a ZBA account? Is a schedule that was predefined being followed correctly and the GL matches that? There are other rules that are in play here, but across all these rules, over half the recs in BlackLine are being auto-certified month in and month out. So that's a big deal. And you're seeing a lot of these. So there's 24 here that were system certified. Notice that in a status column. Now, if you want to go to the other ones, the ones that are, need to be reviewed or still need to be done, you might have another view for that. So you're seeing some right here that you might focus on, right? Now, within reconciliations, we take a template-based approach. So what that means is consistency. It can drive automation. And it also has controls. So, for instance, this one is a prepaid account. Well, this is one view. There's another view with a roll forward, right? If you want to see a matrix where you have all the items and you have the columns listed over there as dates, you can download that, use that for whatever you want. Or if that's your preferred view, go for it. A lot of people like this one because you can easily attach comments, hyperlinks, and maybe even invoices. That's what these documents over here mean for each of the items. So you don't have to go hunting down and you know that these items are well supported. Some other things I found helpful as a reviewer are looking at things month over month. You can clearly focus on the new items or, in the case of something that might be risky, something that is fully amortized. Should this be zero or should we have paid off something new for the next term, right? That might be something you can look into. The other thing I found helpful was having a balances link. So at the bottom of every rec, you can easily get to this trend report, and that can help you answer questions about, what's going on in the account. Is it reasonable to expect it to be where it is? Trends are really insightful like that, and you get this in every single rec. Now, another thing that approvers often use frequently is reporting. In BlackLine, virtually every data point is reportable. So as an example of how you might use this is to address risk. This one is showing all the items that require adjustments across everything that we have responsibility for. So what that means is it's like an internal audit adjustment list, or PAGIs, right? Where there's all these little things that are going to need to be adjusted, but we're going to pass on doing them because it's just going to create a lot of rework, or it's just easier to punt it to next period. Here's your snapshot of what that looks like in a grid and graphical format. Even shows the aging buckets and what things roll up to and who's responsible. So you can filter down from here, sort, export this to Excel, whatever you want. Another example, maybe you want to see the status of all the account recs or the tasks or whatever it is that you're responsible for and need to focus on that day. This shows you that there's a lot of stuff that's not prepared yet, and you can see where it is by area, reference, roll up on the balance sheet, whatever you want to do, or who it is, or maybe the key or non-key or risk or something like that. This gives you insights. Now you can schedule these daily, weekly, monthly, so you don't have to run it. It's just there waiting for you if you want. And then lastly, the BlackLine community is another powerful part of the BlackLine experience. This is where you can connect with other users, learn best practices, see what other people in your industry or your company size are doing. You can suggest product enhancements. I literally submitted many of these as a user, and it's cool to see some of these come to fruition. The other thing you're going to see is BlackLine U, where there are over 500 courses to help you and your team learn how to enhance and transform your close. This concludes our look into BlackLine from the perspective of an approver. You might have noticed that this is pretty similar to that of a preparer. Now, a lot of people wear a lot of different hats. I know I did. So they tend to appreciate the consistency. If you have other questions about BlackLine or anything else, what was covered in this video or otherwise, please reach out to your account executive. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit about BlackLine and help prepare yourself for your further BlackLine discussions, which will help you and your team get one step closer to modern accounting.